Hey Nick, very interesting dialogue going on here. I was been away for like about 6 or 7 days, and I just got back, and I see this dialogue going on with you and Gary on the money, and just raises some really interesting issues. It joins a number of really interesting issues. Um, I'm kind of sticking with where I just heard, which was the end of the second video. Um, uh, in which you're advocating that people should limit the amount of debt that they have. Which of course, and we would do that if we didn't have the debt money system, Nick. Okay, if we didn't have the debt money system, if we didn't have a system where all the money that is created as a debt, okay, um, we would have some potential for doing that. Um, when we met on the lack of the permanent money system, that was about the debt, the debt money system. It's a matter of what you were saying about the need to continue to generate the interest and the debt service payments on the money that's already out there. Okay, that need is the unsustainable yet self-fulfilling nature of the debt money system. Okay, that is to say, we need to keep making debt money. We can't stop making debt money. If we do, it crashes. The whole system crashes. The pro-cyclical nature of fractional reserve debt money system is that it doesn't work in reverse. Okay, uh, when you're only holding $10 in reserve for every $90 that are lent out, it doesn't work in reverse when you try to contract the money supply and have to draw in $90 for every $10 reduction. It doesn't work. Okay, it comes crashing down. So the way to get to the point that you're advocating us to get to is to have the money supply be provided and created without creating the debt. Now there's not a need for debt within the money supply to have an adequate money supply, to have money to do the things that we need to do. So it's adequate in terms of its quantity, but it's a matter of where does it go? Where does it come from, and where does it go? So if we have adequate money, then money's there. It's already in existence. There will be debts according to things that people need to borrow money for, things that make business sense, either personally or as a business. Um, so, having said that, all we really need to do is to end the. I know that you called it a thousands-year-old tradition of a system, and you know, since it wasn't really fish and tomatoes, it was really the people holding and trading gold, or holding and trading coins, or holding and trading other things that we're talking about. That's the real history of the nature of the money system. Um, it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, it's open for it's up for grabs. The money system is up for grabs. That's why we advocate grabbing it back. Um, it's our money system. We own the money system. That's one thing that Gary, doesn't get. He kind of forgets that, at the beginning of every year when we need $200 billion more, in order to have money in the economy next year, that money can either come into existence debt-free through government issue and end up in the banks, or it can do the things that Gary criticizes the results of, which is to allow the private bankers to create that money, and in so doing, mortgage all the things that they get to mortgage, that they get the interest on, that Gary complains about. Okay, but that system, doesn't have to be. Okay, that's our choice to let them have that system, and there's no reason for it to continue. It has run itself out. It has reached its beyond its peak. All it can do right now is to actually slow and delay the recovery that that the economy can have, which is going to be slow anyway because we have overspent and overconsumed. But it's not it's not impossible to do given a new money system. Um, if the phone rings, it's my sister, and I have to take it. Um, yeah, since we, you know, because of the debt money nature of the money system, we can't save our way to prosperity. Okay, because if we do that, there'll be less and less money to available to do the things we need. What we have to do is cut the debt off the debt money system. That's what we need to do. Cut the debt off, cut the interest due off, and it's doable. It's immensely doable for the money creation part. Okay, um, do away with that intrinsic, unsustainable, unavoidable aspect of the system to have to keep putting interest money to pay interest on the money that's been created. To take money that's created as a debt on an asset and take that money and pay interest on an asset that was previously created, and that the more of that we keep taking out of the economy and paying for the previous interest, the bigger the hole gets. We can end that. We can put an end to that. Um, and by the way, we can do that by changing the rules of the game, as you call them, Nick. Okay, and as you call them to Gary, it's the rules of the game. Um, so again, my take on it is the rules that we're playing under right now. Yeah, they mimic some of the previous rules because the Federal Reserve System was created by bankers. So yeah, that's true that it's the same rules as it was. But this is our system of rules. We, the people of the United States of America, okay, we have our own monetary system. We have our own money system. And, the bankers talked the Congress into having this fractional reserve debt servitude, I call it, money system, okay, the debt servitude money system. And we can undo that. They were created with a pen, and they can be uncreated with the pen, okay? Um, we should remember that it was we empowered the Congress to screw up and to allow the Federal Reserve to come into existence, to allow a debt money system, an impermanent, unsustainable money system to come into existence. And now that it's at the end of its rope, what we need to do is be prepared to do away with it and to change it and to replace it with a new money system. So it's very interesting. It's a very interesting, dialogue. I'm purposely avoiding, Gary's thing because Gary, yeah, Gary's Gary. Anyway, ever upwards.